Virgo, two things arriving together in the same window of time through the same convergence of invisible work finally breaking through the surface of a life that has perhaps recently felt more like a season of loss than a season of arrival. And I want to speak about both of them separately with the specific attention each deserves before I speak about what it means that they are happening simultaneously. Because the simultaneity is the specific and extraordinary thing, and it deserves to be understood rather than simply announced. Something you lost is on its way back, and someone is about to appear, not separately, not as two unrelated gifts distributed by a generous universe on the same day, as two expressions of the same underlying shift, two visible manifestations of a single invisible change that has been occurring in the structure of your life beneath the surface, without your awareness, in the patient and unhurried way that the most significant changes always move before they become undeniable. Take what belongs to you today. What resonates, let it settle as confirmation rather than hope. What does not, release it gently. But for those of you who felt something catch in the chest when I said something you lost is coming back, who felt the specific, slightly breathless quality of someone encountering a sentence that names exactly what they have been quietly carrying, this reading is entirely yours. Let me speak about what was lost. Because loss in the context of this reading is not one specific thing, and Spirit is being deliberately open about the form it may have taken, because what you lost is particular to you, and I do not want to narrow the reading into a shape that does not fit your specific situation. For some of you, it is a person, a connection that was real and that ended through circumstances, through timing, through the specific and sometimes arbitrary quality of two people being in the wrong configuration at the wrong moment in a way that did not feel complete. That left a shape in the air that the time since has been unable to fill. Soft sigh. For others, it is something more internal, a quality of yourself that the difficult period took. Not permanently, but long enough that its absence became a feature of your daily experience rather than a temporary gap. The confidence that used to move through you without requiring maintenance. The specific, easy quality of joy that preceded the period that cost you. The lightness that existed before the weight arrived, and that the weight has been slowly, almost imperceptibly pressing back out of the visible into the hidden. And for others, and I feel this dimension most strongly for a significant portion of this collective, today what was lost was a sense of possibility, the specific, open, nothing is foreclosed quality of someone who has not yet been taught by enough difficulty to narrow their own horizon. Who can look ahead and see the full range of what might be there, rather than the edited, protected, let me not hope too much version that experience sometimes installs in place of genuine openness? That sense of possibility, which is one of the most valuable things a person can carry, and one of the first things difficulty tends to take, may be what is returning. And it is returning Spirit is clear about that today, not as a vague hope, not as a pleasant possibility, as something that is already in motion, already moving back toward you through whatever distance the losing created, with the specific quality of something that was never actually gone, that was simply displaced, temporarily relocated to the invisible by circumstances that have now changed sufficiently to allow the return to begin. The circumstances have changed. That is the foundation of everything else in this reading, the specific, structural, this is why things are different now, shift in the underlying conditions of your life that makes both of today's arrivals possible. Not visible changes, not the obviously improved circumstances that the rational mind would point to as evidence of things getting better. The invisible kind, the shift in the invisible architecture, in the quality of your own readiness, in the completion of something that needed to complete before the return could happen, that produces external change as its natural consequence rather than as something sought or engineered. You became ready. That is the honest and specific version of what changed. Not ready in the sense of having resolved everything or achieved everything or arrived at a state of perfection that earns good things as a reward. Ready in the sense of having done enough genuine interior work, having processed enough of what the difficult period deposited in you, having arrived at enough clarity about who you are and what you need, that what you lost can now find its way back without immediately running into the conditions that produced the losing in the first place. The conditions that produced the losing have changed in you, which is the only change that ever actually matters for whether what returns stays returned. Now, let me speak about the person who is about to appear, because this dimension of the reading carries a quality that I want to describe carefully, because appearing in front of you is a specific phrase and it deserves its specific meaning. This is not someone arriving from a great distance, not someone who has been absent from your life entirely and is returning from somewhere far, someone who has been present in your vicinity, in the edges of your world, in the peripheral space that you move through without always fully registering what is there and who is about to step into the center of your attention in a way that changes how visible they are to you. You may already know them. That is the specific quality spirit is pressing forward, the not a stranger quality of someone whose presence you have perhaps registered without fully receiving, who has been in your field without yet being in your full focus. And what is about to change, what is shifting in the invisible between you, is the quality of the attention. The specific, suddenly clear, I had not fully seen this before quality of a moment where someone who was background becomes foreground, where peripheral becomes central, where a presence you had been moving past steps forward in a way that makes moving past them impossible. Soft sigh. The appearing is mutual. That is another specific thing Spirit is pressing me to say, because appearing suggests one direction of motion, but what I feel in the energy is bi-directional. They are appearing in front of you, and you are appearing in front of them, both becoming visible to each other in a new way, simultaneously both registering the other with a clarity and a specificity that the previous quality of attention did not produce. The appearing is not something that happens to you from outside. It is something that happens between two people who are both in the same moment ready to see. Now I want to speak about the connection between these two arrivals, because the simultaneity is the message. The fact that what was lost is returning at the same time that someone is appearing is not coincidence, not the random distribution of good things in your direction on the same day. It is the specific and coherent expression of a single underlying shift of a life that has reached a new quality of alignment between who you are and what surrounds you. When that alignment shifts, when the invisible architecture of a life reaches a new configuration, what is now possible shifts simultaneously across multiple domains. What was lost becomes returnable because the conditions that produced the losing are no longer present. Someone new becomes visible because the quality of attention you are now capable of bringing, the specific, open, nothing foreclosed quality of someone whose readiness has reached a new level, is capable of seeing what the previous quality of attention was missing. Both things change because the underlying thing changed. And the underlying thing, your readiness, your alignment, your genuine and earned arrival at a new version of yourself, is what Spirit is confirming today as real. Whew, real, not aspirational, not the version of yourself you are working toward. The version that exists right now, produced by the specific and unglamorous work of everything the difficult period asked of you, that is already different from the version that entered the difficult period. More grounded, more honestly self knowing, more capable of the quality of receiving that allows good things to land rather than passing through. That version of you is what the two arrivals are meeting. What was lost is returning to a different person than the person who lost it, a person who, in receiving it back, will be able to hold it differently, with the awareness that its absence produced, with the specific quality of appreciation that only comes from having genuinely missed something and genuinely survived the missing. And the someone who is appearing in front of a version of you that has been shaped by everything into someone capable of genuinely seeing what is there rather than seeing what previous experience has trained the eye to expect. How do you receive both of these things well? Because the receiving matter spirit is clear about that, and the quality of the receiving will shape what both arrivals become. Receive what returns without the bitterness of having lost it. That is the first thing. The bitterness is understandable, is earned, even, but it does not serve the return. What serves the return is the specific, open, I am glad it is back quality of someone who allows what has been absent to be welcomed rather than interrogated. Who lets the return be what it is, a return, not a trial to be evaluated for the likelihood of loss repeating and builds from there, rather than from the defensive position of someone waiting for the pattern to repeat. Soft sigh, and receive who appears without the overlays of everyone who appeared before them. That is the second thing. The person stepping into the center of your attention in the days ahead is not the people who preceded them, is not the pattern that experience has trained you to recognize and brace against, is specifically, individually, entirely their own thing, deserving of the quality of fresh attention that a genuinely new thing requires, not the suspicious attention of someone who has been disappointed before. The present, open, I am going to see what is actually here attention of someone who has done enough work to know the difference between what is real and what is projection, and who brings that discernment to what is appearing rather than the defensive reflexes that hurt has sometimes installed in its place. Both arrivals deserve the version of you that the difficult period built, not the version before the difficulty. That version did not have what is required to receive these things well. The version after, the one that knows things, that has clarity, that carries the specific and hard won quality of someone who has been through enough to understand the difference between what matters and what does not. That understanding is the gift the difficult period gave. And both of what is arriving today, the return and the appearance, are the world's way of confirming that the gift was received, that the work was done, that the version of you capable of receiving these things well has arrived. You get back what you lost. And next to it, appearing in the same window, in the same season of shift, someone steps forward into the full light of your attention for the first time. Both real, both arriving, both expressions of the same underlying truth that something has changed in you that changes what is possible around you. And that what is now possible is more than what the difficult period made visible, considerably more. And it is on its way. If this reading found you today, if something here named both things you needed to hear and gave them a shape that felt true, stay close. Subscribe and come back. Because the story of what returns and who appears and what becomes possible when both arrive in the same season, that is a story worth witnessing all the way through. And the next reading will be there for every step of both arrivals.